For much of the last couple of days, part of one of Colorado's most crucial interstates has been shut down or full of slow traffic. After nearly 24 cars and trucks crashed yesterday on I-70 outside of Strasburg, the cleanup now falls on private companies.
So you got one lane open, parts of I-70 eastbound near Byers. 9 News reporter Mark Salinger learned that it's up to each individual trucking company to figure out how to pick up their spilled loads.
I-70 is back open tonight after that awful crash yesterday that involved more than 20 cars and semis. But even as cars are moving by on the highway now, the work to unload those crashed semis is taking a long time. It's causing traffic to be backed up for miles. On one of Colorado's most important stretches of highway, traffic moves slow.
We are really a pipeline between the east and west coast and for the center of the country here.
I-70 is crucial in connecting Colorado with the rest of the U.S. When at least 9 trucks and 12 cars get tangled together in a snowstorm, the result can take days to clean up.
It's just manpower that's going to go ahead and unload those. Sometimes they have to bring in forklifts or whatever they can to get some of the heavier stuff in.
Master Trooper Gary Cutler says Colorado State Patrol sent a hazmat team to contain some spilled fuel. But before the road can fully reopen, it's up to each trucking company to figure out a plan to come and pick up everything that's spilled.
Once we get all of our part done, then it comes down to private companies or those trucking companies bringing in their own people to unload those vehicles and do any type of actual cleanup.
The state doesn't organize that part of the cleanup, which means private companies have to be called in for each individual truck that crashed. In a crash like this, where trucks split in half, that can take a while. 2 people in one of those cars that was involved in this crash were transported to the hospital, but they are expected to be okay. Outside of Strasburg, I'm Mark Salinger, 9 News.
Colorado State Patrol says there's no timeline for when all those trucks and all that debris will be completely off the highway.
The Eastern Plains are in for more snow tomorrow, but Lauren, this storm's due to hit a place that has missed out on a bunch.
Yes, the next storm that's pushing in will move in tomorrow afternoon through early Saturday, but the hardest hit area is expected to be the southeastern corner of the state, and that's an area that doesn't get too much of this snow, certainly not along that last route. Now let's go ahead and take a look at our HD Doppler radar. We're off to our west. We can already see that system spinning its way eastward towards Colorado, but again, it won't hit until around midday tomorrow to push into the southwestern corner of the state. As it makes its way further eastward, some portions could make into central portions of the Front Range and Eastern Plains. We could see some light snow showers, but the heaviest stuff is expected to fall across the southeastern corner of the state. This is where we have several winter weather alerts already in place. These will be Friday afternoon through Saturday afternoon, where we have winter storm watches, winter storm warnings, and even winter weather advisories in place. So I'll have details on all of that. Plus, when we have more snow chances here in Denver, yes, there's more still yet to come. I'll have those details just ahead of my full 7-day forecast.
Lauren, thanks. The road into Ophir is now open after an avalanche cut the small town of 180 people off yesterday. San Miguel County officials spent the day setting multiple avalanches off so it wouldn't happen again. Originally, crews thought roads weren't going to reopen till tomorrow, but they were able to reopen them about 5 this afternoon. The Colorado Avalanche Information Center says they've seen more avalanches this year than they typically do. A professor with MSU Denver says the sheer amount of snowfall we've gotten this year has played a big role.
If you dig into a snowpack, you'll see different layers where there might be different storm events. And every time there's a layer, you have the potential for something that could fail.
There's many reasons why something could fail. Professor Bellinger says it could be a disturbance from a person. The previous snowpack wasn't strong enough to hold the new snow, or of course, just plain old gravity. And the snow is sort of a double-edged sword. While it's contributing to more avalanches, it can help recover the Colorado River water levels.
A well-known community activist is out of the race for Denver mayor. Today was the deadline for candidates to turn in signatures to get on the ballot. Of the 26 candidates, 25 of them turned in signatures. We already know that 3 did not have enough signatures to make the cut, and that includes Terrence Roberts. Roberts' inability to gather 300 valid signatures is pretty surprising. He's been a prominent anti-gang activist for years. His story is currently featured in the recent book and the coming documentary, The Holly. And Roberts was not exactly new to this race. He announced his candidacy back in April. Candidates had to submit their signatures for verification by 5 o'clock today. The city's candidate tracker shows Roberts and 2 of the other 26 were ruled out for insufficient signatures. 10 candidates already have their signatures approved, so they'll be on the ballot. Election workers are checking out the other dozen. Clerk's office told us ballot's not official until February 3rd, so a candidate who's left off could challenge the ruling in court. This is Denver's first open mayoral race in more than a decade, so that's why you see so many people piling in. In February, 9 News will be hosting a debate with all of the candidates who are getting public financing through the Fair Election Fund. We're going to need a couple tiers on the stage or something. The election's in April. The top 2 finishers will go to a runoff.
Her family thought they would never get answers. Now, nearly a year after, a 17-year-old girl was found dead in an alley. Police arrested 3 people tied to her death. Jasmine Rivas Hernandez was found shot in an alley near Quebec and Colfax last March. Today, police arrested 34-year-old Robert Solano, 26-year-old Joseph Chavez, and 21-year-old Shiloh Fresquez. An arrest affidavit says police first talked to Fresquez, who days after the killing, after they got an anonymous tip that she knew who was responsible. They found Solano and Chavez through a stolen car captured on surveillance video speeding by the alley. Solano is accused of killing Rivas Hernandez, and the other 2 are facing accessory charges. Now, it's not clear if there was any connection between the suspects and Rivas Hernandez.
The 5 Aurora police officers and paramedics who are accused in Elijah McClain's death are going to end up in 3 separate trials. Today, a judge decided to break up the cases. McClain died after Aurora police officers stopped him on a walk home in August 2019. He had not done anything wrong. One of the officers, Nathan Woodyard, put McClain in what's called a carotid hold. Later, 2 paramedics gave him the sedative ketamine. McClain lost consciousness, and he died a few days later. Today, the judge ordered one trial for Woodyard, another trial for the paramedics, and a 3rd trial for 2 other officers involved in McClain's death. All 5 are due in court tomorrow. They're each facing 1 count of manslaughter and a count of criminally negligent homicide.
It's now a lot easier to get all kinds of information about the Denver Police Department. The department published a dashboard online today with details about internal affairs investigations, officer-involved shootings, even call response times. 9 News reporter Jennifer Meckles walks us through it.
Alex, this new police chief, Ron Thomas, says there's a few things going on here. He says it's his mission to increase public trust, but also this dashboard is partly a response to a recent state law. That law passed back in 2020, requiring all law enforcement agencies to start using body-worn cameras and to report some of this kind of data, like the use of force, to the state every year. So DPD says this new performance and transparency dashboard will not only satisfy that mandate, but also let the public access this sooner than their deadline and more easily.
I mean, I hope, again, that it adds a layer of transparency and that allows people to see what we're doing, see that we're holding ourselves accountable, see that we're measuring response times and doing everything that we can to reduce those response times.
There's still more coming. Coming soon to the dashboard is the use of force data. Those are incidents where there wasn't deadly police force, but police used some kind of force. I asked the chief if we can expect that to include cases during the protests of 2020. He said yes. We also asked if DPD will be open to public feedback on this dashboard. Say if somebody spots an error or they have a question about the content. Chief said yes. Again, he is open to that. And there's actually an email, Alex, on the dashboard website for that very purpose if somebody wants to contact the department.
Okay, we'll make sure we get that email on our website.
Yes.
Can't imagine any more time better for transparency with all the lawsuits they've been dealing with. Better time than ever.
Right.
Yeah. Jenny, thanks.
A former Denver Broncos player sharing quite the hunting story this week. Derek Wolfe also posted a photo of this huge mountain lion he says he killed on Tuesday. We are going to show you the photo, so just a heads up if you're not into seeing dead animals. 9 News reporter Kelly Rinke's along now. So Derek Wolfe was talking about what happened on his podcast on 104.3 The Fan.
Yeah, Derek Wolfe spent 16 minutes talking about it on the drive with his co-host D-Mac. Wolfe said he loves hunting deer and elk, but recently he got his license for mountain lion hunting. He and a buddy took advantage of the recent snow this week so they could find animal tracks more easily. This is the male cat he said he killed on Tuesday. Wolfe is a large guy, and this lion still looks pretty huge. On the podcast, Wolfe said they hunted the mountain lion near Grant, Colorado, off 285. It's just near the south end of Guanella Pass. He said the cat was in a tree, and he used a bow and arrow to kill it. Wolfe called the trip, quote, predator control on Instagram, and he said the animal had been wreaking havoc in a nearby neighborhood.
He was hiding under this lady's porch down the road. She told us, like, please get rid of him. He killed my dog last year.
Colorado Parks and Wildlife says this was all legal. Wolfe is a licensed hunter in good standing with CPW, and he followed the reporting requirements. Mountain lion hunters have to pass a certification course, which is an extra requirement for this animal in the state.
Well, good to hear that he did everything on the up and up. Man, that's a big cat.
It's a pretty big cat. It's getting a lot of traction on Instagram.
I keep looking at the photo thinking, is it an angle thing? What's going on? Because again, Derek Wolfe, as you said, not a small man.
Not a small guy, and people are, throwing out their guesses of how big this cat is. Derek Wolfe on one of the comments said he thinks it's 200 pounds. I don't know. That looks like a pretty big cat.
Well, man's lifted 200 pounds before, so you'd know what it was like. All right. Thank you, Kelly.
XL bills are rising at an alarming rate, and help is only so limited. Wolves are being reintroduced to the state this year, and this was the public's first chance to comment on the state's proposal. Plus, the mystery continues on who leaked the draft opinion that reversed Roe v. Wade.